Hello, boys and girls. Here we are back again at the resurrection window. But this week we're talking about Thomas. He's up there, the little figure in the green, and underneath it says, "My Lord and my God." Thomas couldn't believe that Jesus had risen from the dead. He hadn't seen Jesus. He didn't know, and he was very afraid. Do you get afraid sometimes? So do I. Especially in these very strange times when we're home all the time and we aren't at school and we haven't seen our friends. It's kind of a scary and weird time. And some days we might feel kind of blue and kind of down, and that's okay. Sometimes I feel that way too. Thomas felt that way. And what did he do about it? He told his friends, "Unless I see the Lord, unless I can touch him and put my hands in the wounds where the nails were, I can't believe." What did Jesus do? Was Jesus mad at Thomas for feeling that way? No. Jesus loved Thomas. And so 1 week after Easter Day, when everybody had gathered in the upper room and Thomas was there, Jesus came and he said to everyone, "Peace be with you." And he said to Thomas, "Come over here, Thomas. Feel me. Put your hands in the wounds. Touch the wounds in my hands and touch the wound in my side. And believe that I am here. Believe that I love you." Thomas was so overcome that he said to Jesus the words in the window, "My Lord and my God." So when you're feeling afraid, when you're feeling blue or down, when you can't believe that God maybe is with you in this very strange time, remember Thomas. Remember how much Jesus loved Thomas. Jesus didn't scold Thomas because he said, "I have to see to believe." Jesus said, "Come closer. Come and know me. Come and touch me. Come and be with me." And Jesus says the same thing to us. "Come to me, all you that are heavy laden, and I will refresh you." Thank you again for being with us, boys and girls, and we will see you next week. Many years ago, I served as a college chaplain, and I often encountered students who, having left home, had also left church. Some of them with heady idealism and newfound intellectual power would try to shock me by saying, "I'm an atheist. What do you think about that, holy lady?" which is what they used to call me. I think they expected me to react as maybe they thought their parents might act, or their ministers at home, with shock, or at least with an argument of faith. Instead, I would reply, "How interesting! Tell me more about the God that you don't believe in." What followed was often a very truthful and fruitful exchange of ideas and concepts about God. And in addition, I often found that the ideas that fueled the students' rejection of God were based on immature images that they had learned many years earlier. God as judge in the heavens with a long white beard, ready to zap those who didn't behave, or God as a wimpy do-gooder, impractical, unrealistic when it comes to real evil in the world. But sometimes their images and experience of religion were based on hurt or pain or anger, hurt at prayers that had not been answered, pain of loss, anger at rejection of the hypocrisy they observed when Christians were supposed to be loving but acted judgmental. At the end of such discussions, I would say, "Isn't that interesting? I don't believe in that God either." And together we would embark on a process of inquiry, a true process of building faith. Actually, I respect a true atheist, one who has clearly thought through the consequences of no belief in God at all, even though they make me sad. But more often, I have found that those who call themselves atheists are actually believers who've just not allowed themselves to face their own doubts. A true atheist says there is no God and has no doubt about it. But there are many whose faith is in transition, who are casting off perhaps more simplistic teachings of youth and searching for an authentic belief. They are really more like agnostics, people who believe that there still may be a higher power, but they don't see how it relates to them. They're still looking for proof, but they have not allowed themselves the benefit of the doubt. And in these anxious times, we may find that the faith we have had is changing, being challenged and tested. We are also in a period of exploration, maybe even doubt. Our world, both physically and spiritually, has shifted, and we may feel detached or sad or helpless or overwhelmed. We may feel that we are like Thomas, still shocked by Good Friday and not yet ready to move into Easter. Yes, the benefit of the doubt. A few years ago, I read an article in Christianity Today written by Mark Buchanan, a Canadian Baptist pastor. The article was about today's gospel and the Apostle Thomas. In it, he makes a distinction between honest doubts and what we might call toxic doubt. Toxic doubt actually looks a lot like toxic faith, because both are absolute, immutable, demanding complete obedience without thinking. Toxic faith said there's only one way to God, and that's my way. No doubt allowed, and if you pray and nothing happens, it's because your faith is too weak or God is angry at you. Toxic doubt is similar. Toxic doubt says that everything must be proved by personal experience. It won't do for others to say that they have been to the moon and have pictures to prove it. Such photos can be doctored, and the proof of humans walking on the moon can be manipulated through camera tricks and computer-enhanced video. Toxic doubt shuts off all dialogue, all creative listening, all possibilities that truth even exists.
But toxic doubt, as well as toxic faith, can also be the result of trauma, a delayed reaction to events we could not control, a feeling of being stuck in time and unable to move forward, either clinging to ideas that don't really work anymore or rejecting everything that once seemed true. In the end, neither toxic faith or toxic doubt are healthy. Neither can be the basis for a creative life. In one case, I can't sit down in a chair until it's God's will. In another, I can't sit on a chair until it can be proved that it won't collapse. Both ways end in a life that is stunted, uncreative, and destructive. The basic flaw of toxic doubt is that it cannot ever be satisfied. No evidence is really enough or of the right kind. The basic flaw in toxic faith is that it orders us not to think or reason, both God-given gifts to humanity. Both toxic faith and toxic doubt are appetites for power and control gone wrong. Both are a way of shutting out one's heart and mind and feelings. Mr. Buchanan's article poses a middle way between these two extremes. He writes, "The depth of our doubt is roughly proportionate to the depth of our faith. That principle bears out in the other direction as well. People with a trivial and shallow faith usually have trivial and shallow doubts." Buchanan makes the argument for honest doubt, the kind of doubt that leads to a deeper faith.